it's getting to that time of the season. We just have about 2 months left, thereabout, until the season comes to an end. And after that, we have the Club World Cup. So that means clubs are looking to, start making plans about their transfer business for the summer. And you can already expect that all the transfer rumors will be going in, fast, pretty fast this time around. But yeah, there have been some particularly interesting bit of transfer news that have been making the round. And of course, we'll be touching base on everything from now until the end of the season. And of course, we're starting with one of the most wanted guys in football now. He's scoring goals for fun. He has been consistent this season, and that's no one else than Alexander Isak for Newcastle. He's been a revelation. I think he has enjoyed himself this season. But before we go into the clubs interested in him and whatnot, I just want to ask you a question, Victor. Newcastle are expecting about £150 million from him. Is that realistic? And do you think he's worth that amount?
Okay, look, Newcastle are negotiating from an extremely strong position. Isak's contract runs for another 3 years after this season. At the
Yeah.
moment, he's 25. He's at the peak of his powers. He's been in the Prem for 3 seasons already, including this one. Um, During this time, he's shown constant improvement season on
Hmm.
season. What's more, he's a target for big English teams, the Big Six, most of the
Yeah.
Big Six, I assume. Um, these clubs usually have to overpay in order to land their targets.
Hmm.
Personally, I think 70, 80 million is realistic, but I suspect Newcastle's initial asking price will be much higher than that. The figure you mentioned, can't say is super shocking, but I don't think a deal will be done in the end for that amount.
Yeah, fair enough. And while we're at it here, in your opinion, which club do you think is the best club for Isak to go? Liverpool are linked to him. Arsenal are there. Chelsea are there. Even Barca are interested in his services. And Manchester United briefly to have been, rumored to be interested in him. But which club do you think would best suit him?
Okay, I think Manchester United, it's it's not that they don't stand a chance. I just think it's not a viable option for him from a
Yeah.
development perspective. Barcelona, let's face it, cannot afford him. Probably not this summer. Next summer, maybe, but I don't know if he'll be staying at Newcastle another year. So that leaves Arsenal, Chelsea, and Liverpool. Any of those three is really a good move uh, because he wouldn't have that much competition in terms of a number nine. Liverpool are
Yeah.
expected to sell Nunez. Arsenal have Gabriel Jesus and Kai Havertz, neither of whom are good enough to be a starting niner for a top Prem club.
Yeah.
Chelsea, you can see what the situation is like, and Nkunku isn't really playing well as a niner, and Nicholas Jackson, he's good, but he's not on Isak's level. Um, I think probably the best fit would be Liverpool, not because I'm a fan, but because of tactic considerations. It feels like um, it, regardless if Salah goes or stays, but Liverpool's attacking department is the most mobile and the most fluid out of the three.
Yeah.
So I kind of think that with Liverpool, he would have the best numbers.
Fair enough. And Max, still speaking about Liverpool, there's a recent report that Harry Kane is considering coming back to the Premier League and is eyeing, a move to Liverpool. Just like Victor said, after recent reports that they are looking to, to sell Darwin Nunez, and although the reason behind Harry Kane's return to the Premier League is what I find funny. It's not because he just wants to come back, but because he wants to break Alan Shearer's record. Do you think a move for Harry Kane to Liverpool makes sense or not?
For Kane himself, 100%. And also for Liverpool, they were lacking stable goal scorer, as we all know. We all saw that Nunez doing stuff. So for me, the only problem for Liverpool is probably his salary and the transfer value, because he's kind of old. So if they sign him for like 70 million, as I saw, in, for example, for 3 years, probably in 3 years they wouldn't be able to sell him even for 50. So I'd say there are a couple of better options for Liverpool, but I still think that Kane probably come in EPL, but with other team.
Yeah, Victor, as a Liverpool fan, what do you think about this?
Look, I know you're not his biggest fan. I personally rate the lad. I think he's a very good striker, but it's not the Liverpool way. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make business sense, just like Max very well pointed out. If you look at Liverpool and their transfer policy, Harry Kane is going to be 32 in July. And the sum that's actually thrown around is higher than what you mentioned, Max. It's about £100 million, which I think is astronomical for Liverpool, the way they are usually doing business, and for a player of Harry Kane's age. It would be hypocritical of them to let go of Salah with the form he's in at the same age, of course. But if you're thinking about £100 million and spending that on a striker, just like how Max said, there's better options out there. There's Gyökeres, there's Sheshko, there's Isak, there's a bunch of strikers under 27 years of age. You get 5 solid years out of them for that money, and then maybe still sell them for 30 or something. It,
Yeah.
Kane would be a luxury addition. It would be Thiago in 2020. I'm not saying it would end just as disastrously as that did, but I would rather not see him in a Liverpool shirt. I don't want to have him in Liverpool. No.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. And Max, it's actually going to be a busy summer for United, not just in terms of players to buy, but players to sell. Actually, I mean, after that recent interview, that we saw, I mean, it's expected that United could at least sell up to 10 players this summer. And there remains to be seen what will be done with the players on loan. Guys like Rashford and now the one causing confusion is Jadon Sancho. Everyone expected him to go to Chelsea because it was a loan with an obligation to buy. But now it has been revealed that Chelsea can actually pay 20% and decide to not buy him. So they can just pay £5 million and decide, oh, we don't want him anymore. So we are scrapping the obligation to buy. So, what do you think United should actually do with Sancho? Should United try to reintegrate him back to the team, or should still think of how to cut their losses and move on from Sancho?
Well, it's actually fun when you hear that the club wants to just explode his 5 million, not to sign a player, a young player, only for 25 mil. So for me, it's a bad idea for Chelsea, but if they really do that, Amorim known for doing good stuff with young players, so probably he can try to keep him a team for at least one season, and if nothing works, probably next summer they can sell him. But for me, for the next season, especially we don't have a lot of good players on the attacking side, so for me, I'd better keep him.
Yeah, you do have a point, Max. But knowing Amorim and how he treated Rashford, I would say man has too much ego to keep Sancho in that team. I would still think they will cut their losses and sell him to any willing club at all. But yeah, you never know. But I doubt Sancho is going to be reintegrated. Yeah, you could go on, Victor.
There's actually a good chance that Chelsea do end up getting him
Yeah.
permanently and selling him the same summer, because
Hmm.
it's £25 million, and then they might be able to strike a deal with a German or an Italian team,
Yeah,
as
then
far
then
as
you
I've
need to
been
sell him at
reading.
least for 20 mil to don't lose money.
Yeah, the thing is, not to sell outright, but loan him out with an obligation to sell. They loan
Yeah,
him out for a fee of 3 or 4 million, and then with an obligation to sell for 25 to 30, and they're actually making a profit.
yeah, they could
And there's
actually do
also
that.
yeah, and there's also there should be interested parties in England because there's English clubs who are going to be qualifying for Europe this season, and they will be needing reinforcements. I'm thinking the likes of Forest, Brighton, Bournemouth, someone like that. Should they do it? I'd say
Maybe
yeah,
Villa.
yeah, maybe even Villa, exactly, especially if there's a clean out. But Sancho's a quality winger. Seasons are long. You need squad options, and especially for a club not used to European competitions, uh, season in, season out, it would be a solid option.
Yeah, fair enough. That's well rightly put. And speaking about the clear out and speaking about Villa, they've been one of the surprise teams in the Premier League this season, actually, and their players have really done well. In fact, clubs are expected to move in and raid them big this summer. Victor, which players are you expecting to attract lots of interest from top sides from Villa this summer?
Okay, I think one of uh, Villa's biggest problems is that their most important players are actually homegrown English.
Yeah,
Um, it it's an advantage because it gives you the right to ask for more money when a club is interested,
yeah,
but it also attracts more interest. So Watkins is the obvious name on the list. I'm sure he's at the top of the transfer list for many top clubs. I know there's interest from Italy, along with the usual suspects such as Arsenal. Morgan Rogers also making headlines. There's Jacob Ramsey, very, very good footballer. And this is, I think, Villa's biggest problem. It's a delicate situation, but at the same time, there's also a very good chance that this fire sale won't happen because they're actually only 3 points behind fifth place, and realistically, fifth place will guarantee Champions League football. If they manage to clinch Champions League football, they might be very easily able to convince most of these players to stay.
fair enough. Fair enough. And speaking about players that could be set for big moves, Ipswich might not have done so well, but the lab
Mm.
individually has been something to look out for, a player to look out for. Victor, do you think he's getting a big move this summer?
Um, yeah, so it's a very interesting subject, but because, for example, earlier you asked about Isak and Kane to Liverpool, right? I think this is a more realistic option, Liam Delap to Liverpool. If Salah stays, but especially if he goes. So we know that Liverpool are going to have a pretty big transfer kitty this summer.
Yeah,
It's 200, 250 million. That's something Liverpool hasn't had probably ever.
yeah,
It sounds like a lot, but if you think about Liverpool's current situation, it's actually not that much. So we have three players, Trent and Mo Salah and Virgil van Dijk. They might leave, all three, right? So Liverpool might have to blow through all or the vast majority of that money just to replace those three before even getting to needing a striker. Nunez is
yeah.
apparently on the way out, but they won't be getting the same money they paid for him, obviously. So considering the current squad, assuming these three players see out their contracts and leave, Liverpool will need the following: a right back, a left back, one center back at the very least. Remember, there's rumors about Konate. a defensive midfielder, a right winger, and a striker. That's 6 players out of 200 or 250 million. 200, let's say 250 if they manage to get some decent money for Nunez. Maybe even
Yeah.
another left winger as a squad option behind Cody Gakpo if they sell Luis Diaz. I'm not saying they're going to be selling all of these players. I'm not saying all of them are leaving, but this is a summer of significant change at Anfield. Would they turn to someone like Liam Delap? I wouldn't see why not. They've done decent business with relegated clubs. Let's face it, Ipswich are as good as relegated. They got Roberts and they got Wijnaldum in recent times. And Ipswich are going down. There is value in Delap. They might go for someone like him because there's other positions needing more attention. On the other hand, I can see someone like Tottenham being very interested in Delap. It would make sense given their current attacking players. I think it would make sense for Delap as well. It would be a big step up, but not intimidatingly big like Liverpool or United. So
Yeah.
I think he's on the move. I would like to see him with Liverpool.
Yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough. You've actually pretty much explained it in detail. And since you mentioned that, I'll leave Max to answer this question, which is actually this could actually be some of the biggest things to happen in the Premier League this summer. The trio of Virgil van Dijk, Mohamed Salah, and Trent could actually be on their way out of Liverpool this summer. There's nothing conclusive about the contract of all three of them, and at least Salah is looking the most likely to leave this summer, but there's nothing conclusive about Virgil van Dijk and Trent, and both of them could as well equally leave. But Max, what do you think could happen with the trio, and do you think Liverpool should try to convince maybe Van Dijk and Trent, for instance, to stay back?
Well, if I'm Liverpool fan or manager, I'd probably let go for Van Dijk because at least for me, a couple of last seasons weren't that good from him after the 1920 season. So if I can keep only one or two players, I'll definitely let Van Dijk go and try to keep Trent because Salah is not that young already. We all know that. Even though he's pretty good at the moment, maybe next season is not going to be that good as well. So keeping Trent should be their main target for me. But if they can keep Salah, it would be perfect for them as well.
Victor, your thoughts on this?
I think only one of them stays, and I think that's the captain. And here's where I completely disagree with Max. I want Van Dijk staying. Um, Trent, by most accounts, he's already struck an agreement to join Real. The funny thing about that is that some sources are saying he'll be earning as much as Mbappe. I find it unlikely, but yeah, at any rate, it seems like he's gone. Salah, as much as this would hurt Liverpool, he'll probably go as well. But at the moment, it's hard to see where, actually. If you think about it, it's only the biggest clubs who could offer him the platform that he wants from a sporting perspective.
Saudis.
Uh, mm, I I don't think so. I don't think so. I think he's still too good for that. Um, if we go by process of elimination, it's not going to be Real. They're overloaded in attack. It's not Barcelona because they can't afford them. It's not PSG because they've got Dembele. It's probably not
Inter,
any of the big Italian. Sorry?
maybe Inter Milan.
Yeah, I was just gonna say probably none of the Italian clubs, the big ones, they can't afford the sums involved. The only option I see is Bayern, and it might happen. Or or he stays in England, and uh,
Comes to
probably
Arsenal.
the yeah, no, not Arsenal because they would need to displace Saka, and that's not happening. But the really interesting thing would be City. That
Nah,
would
it's
Mm.
not
be
happening.
I
Nah,
don't think it's happening either, but it would be a sight.
Only
It would be
Chelsea,
a sight.
probably.
Yeah, Chelsea have got Palmer who can play in that inside forward on the right. I don't think that's happening either. But anyway, sorry for the digression. So this leaves us with Van Dijk. He always said he loves the club, the city, the fans, wants to stay. I think a compromise will be reached. He either accepts a 1 year contract or two, or Liverpool budge and they offer him 3 years instead of two.
yeah, fair enough. If you ask me, I also think Van Dijk stays and Trent and Salah would probably go. And for Salah, I think he has been hinting at it over the past couple months, and it's going to be leaving. I think it's the perfect time for Salah to leave. Leave winning the Premier League, finishing your best ever individual season, leave on a high. So I think it's a good thing for Salah to leave now. And for Trent, I think he's just being motivated by money or something because he still has lots of his best peak years to offer Real Madrid. But yeah, he probably needs bigger money, and that's fine, I
For
guess.
some
If
for some players, it's that attraction to the Real Madrid shirt, honestly, and kind of stepping in the footsteps of the likes of McManaman and Beckham, who have gone there, have done some great things for Real Madrid. Bellingham right now, absolutely outstanding. It's an attraction there, and you can understand that.
yeah, fair enough. But if Liverpool actually sell, those two players, it's going to be interesting to see how Liverpool regroup, and try to replace them because I don't think you can replace Salah and Trent in one summer. I don't see how it happens, but yeah, it'll be
You
interesting to
mentioned
see.
selling them. I would have loved to see them sold, to be honest, because I'm so pissed at Liverpool. How many players have left? They could have been sold a year early and they left at the end of their contracts. You look
Contract,
at
yeah,
Wijnaldum, you look at Firmino, Matip could have been sold. Now it's happening again with not one, not two, but three players at the
At
same
least
time.
Trent.
yeah. Trent would
Sorry?
have commanded good amount of money.
Yeah,
Trent,
they
a
would have
player like
sold
Trent would
him.
have commanded a good amount of money in the transfer window, probably 80 to 100 million thereabouts.
And Salah as well. Last summer from Saudi Arabia, 150 million pounds offer.
Turned down by the
Well,
FSG.
he rewarded that contract, declined.
Yeah, I don't know. I just as a Liverpool fan, I'm very disappointed in how things have been handled. Not this year, in the recent past 6, 7 years going back.
Yeah, fair enough. Anyways, we're just going to have to see how all of that will play out in the summer. Would Harry Kane move back to Liverpool? Where would Isak end up playing his football? Which players would leave Liverpool? I mean, which players would leave Aston Villa? I beg your pardon. What next for Liam Delap and the golden trio of the Liverpool mainstay? Will they leave? Will they stay? Or what becomes of the three players? We'll just have to wait and see. And in the meantime, give us your thoughts in the comment section below. What do you think about these transfer rumors? Which players do you want to see join your favorite clubs? And just tell us what you're thinking in general about the transfer window. And as usual, we'll be here to discuss all the top transfer rumors as they come.